Hi, Slumber Party listeners. It's your host, Tim Murray, wanting to remind you to make sure you're subscribed to this channel so you can stay up to date on all of these interviews. Also, make sure you subscribe to iHeart Radio Broadway Network. I do all sorts of bonus episodes there that aren't available on YouTube. And make sure you're subscribed to my Patreon because you can get extra interviews with these guests, extra interviews with Jessica Vosk, Ben Fankhauser, Andrew Keenan Bolger, and so many more people. Enjoy today's interview. Thanks for watching. Hello, my gorgeous, queefy little Slumber Party listeners. It's your host, Tim Murray, and this is the podcast where I interview comedians, drag queens, and Broadway stars about their sleepover experiences growing up. And this month, we're doing something very special, something I like to call Alpha Besties. And that's where we have people on the podcast who are very tight friends, who would have basically just the most fun at a slumber party ever in the history of the world. And today, we have two hilarious comedians, unbelievable musical improvisers. If you haven't checked out Off Book Podcast, you simply must. It's my favorite thing to listen to on every drive. Please welcome to the stage, Zach Reino and Jess McKenna.
Oh gosh, hello.
So good to be back on the stage.
I know, I've missed the stage.
The stage. I long for it.
I crave it.
Do you long for it? Are you missing the liveness?
Yes, but not as much as I thought I would be. Because when things shut down, we were doing like 3 shows a week, and I don't think I need to go back to that. Also, we're talking improv here, so.
Right.
But yeah, I do miss it, of course.
I do for sure. But similarly, I think don't need maybe as many times a week.
Yeah.
But yes, I definitely have taken to singing a little too earnestly, and my husband's like, "Good job." Is that? Am I meant
around the house?
Yeah, am I meant to be like listening to you right now?
Yeah.
Good job.
Good work. Was this performance as you're doing the dishes something
definitely.
I need to validate?
Do I need to validate this? And I'm like, it would be nice.
Can I share for 3 of you, or the 2 of you? Well, 3. Michael's lurking. Hi, Michael. But I was just filling out a delivery service groceries, and they didn't have LaCroix last week, so we didn't get any. But now they had it back in stock, and I sang, "LaCroix is back in stock. LaCroix is back in stock," and I was very proud of that. Not because of the singing, but because it was LaCroix and the boys is such a good mapping over.
Yeah, I think you should. I support you sharing that.
Yeah.
Nicole, my wife liked it, and I thought maybe you 2 would like it. So now
I did like it.
Now I'm sharing it with you.
Loved it. I loved it so much. I wish I could hear it in person. And it seems like the 2 of you are a little more polite about your requests for singing validation. See, I just walk right up to my live-in house person, and I just start.
That's how he likes being referred to.
My live-in house person. My little Dobby, my little Dobby elf.
Someday he'll get a sock, but not today.
He's got to work his way up to a sock. I've given him just a handkerchief here and there, maybe a tissue.
Oh, so he's free.
He's got
handkerchief. I think technically clothing. So yeah.
If I was a house elf and you gave me a handkerchief, I'd be like,
bye.
And I just expose how little I know about the world of Harry Potter.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Don't worry about it. Now is not the time to become a deep dive Harry Potter fan.
No, that's so true. It's very over. But I walk right up to him and I just start singing at the top of my lungs, and then I look him square in the eyes and I ask him to rate it.
like numbers?
American Idol style. More like, are you going to Hollywood, or it's a no for me dog type of situation.
That's a good delineation. I appreciate those metrics.
I think those metrics really work for like everything. It's like pass fail, I think is like really just a great, like, yeah, am I gonna, for a TV show, it's like, do I keep watching this, or is it a no for me dog?
No for me dog.
No for me dog?
I do use the phrase "that's a no for me dog" a lot. But I'm not using the positive. Hey, you know what? This is going to Hollywood. Like, I have to be honest, the reason I was late for this is I was like, I'd like to pick up some food. And I got to say, this halloumi sandwich I got, it's going to Hollywood.
It's going to Hollywood.
Where'd you get a sandwich?
Go Get 'em Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Fave of mine.
An absolute delicious treat.
Yeah.
My pandemic neighbors told me about Go Get 'Em Tiger. You know how like you don't talk to your neighbors unless it's a pandemic? You know that old trope?
You know the German word for the neighbor you only talk to during a pandemic?
Pandemic?
A Schuffenheisen? Yeah, definitely.
I was a Schuffenheisening, and our neighbors started suddenly talking to us now that we were, trapped inside all year long. And then we became like friends with them, and we would like hang out on the lawn all the time. And so they started giving us restaurant recommendations, and they were like, that was their number one. They're like, you gotta Go Get 'Em Tiger.
That's so sweet.
I always thought of it as a coffee shop, but they also do sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. They have a lot of good. I mean, and also there's several locations, a small but growing LA chain.
Okay, good.
And certain locations have bigger or smaller kitchens, but I will say that the food is great. They have it's not at every location, but they have a great burger. They have excellent overnight oats, and they have very soft scrambled eggs. Here's the thing about me, not actually a breakfast person, but their eggs are really great, and their oats.
I was going to say, you're not an eggs person.
I'm not. And
so for you to go to bat for eggs is,
I'm just saying they're going to Hollywood. They're very fluffy, and they usually have chive on the top. It's just all of this stuff feels like very like fresh and really good, and kind of doing simple things but really, really well. I mean, restaurant, it's a coffee shop, but they have good breakfast and lunch options. Pretty good pastries.
I'm adding it to the list.
Oh, yeah,
it's a delish treat. Speaking of delicious foods, I was dying at your podcast episode where you were singing about the meal you would want to eat as your last meal on Earth.
That's right.
So I will ask you both, if we were at a slumber party right now, what would our delicious meal be? What would you want to snack on?
I really do go in for, I love a meal of small bites. Like I think I would love a tapas situation.
An MOSB, if you will.
A meal of small bites, yes,
right.
Definitely, yeah. I'm a huge MOSB, and I am the type of person who's like, if a lot of things sound good on the menu, I'm like, should we all just share? So I do really like, and I do this if I'm hanging well with, I would say, especially my friend Jen D'Angelo, we're like, should we buy every frozen appetizer, like, and make a spread of potato skins, Maz sticks, boneless buffalo wings, taquitos, a 7-layer dip. That's my sort of ideal. Friends are hanging out, we're playing games and watching stuff. Is just a spread of oven-ready frozen apps.
You are really, really speaking my language right now. I mean, okay, yes, absolutely frozen ready. Like, I remember when I first got my license when I was 16, driving to the grocery store for the first time to Meijer and just fucking like throwing my arms out to the side and just living in that frozen food section and just kind of like doing spins in there and being like, oh my God, it's happening. I could buy as many Hot Pockets as I want. I could buy broccoli and cheddar. I could buy pepperoni and meatball. Like, and then when you have friends over and you have the like agency as a teenager and you're like, actually, I can make us food. And you just pop it right in the micro.
I would add to that list. I mean, there's obviously the go-to of like a lot of sleepover food for us was like, let's go to Costco. Let's get their pizza that they make, which is massive and $10 and very good. But in the frozen food department, I would be like, let's get a big old box of corn dogs and then eat 1 million corn dogs that you make at home in the oven. And then Doritos and candy and all that stuff is although more chips than candy, I would say.
I'm also really ashamed that in my list I did not include pizza rolls or bagel bites, both of which are incredible standards.
I came to bagel bites late in life. I'm a late in life converter. And
I don't know that I've had bagel bites maybe more than once or twice in my entire life.
What?
You gotta have a bagel bites night. You gotta have a bagel bites night.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's pizza in the morning.
And in the evening. And at supper time. Which is, I guess, not the evening.
I guess not.
I guess not.
It's just, I think they were just trying to regionally cover their bases.
Yeah.
Like, are you a kid who
Truly.
lives in a place where you call it supper? You're fine. We're here for you too.
It's the evening.
It's the evening.
In the evening, it's supper.
When pizza is on a bagel, you can have pizza anytime, no matter where you are. I feel like
Coda,
I was
not just for Jews, is something they could have said to make
Yeah.
people feel comfortable. We
Yeah.
put pizza on it now.
I think they were always in my fridge. I was kind of a picky eater for a little bit of time, and they were like, my mom was making me pizza bagels. You know,
That's
I was
great.
I was having that.
We had Hot Pockets. My mom's been a vegetarian since forever, so she would stock stuff like that, but it was just for me, I guess, and because my dad would not have it, but we'd have like Hot Pockets and stuff, and lean pockets sometimes.
I remember the
Lean
lean
pockets.
Trying to be
pockets.
healthy.
I remember going on a diet in high school and getting just a buttload of lean pockets and being like, well, this is the ticket for me.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we
Next
go.
stop,
This
summer bod.
And this is
Truly.
this is the most like overtrod comedy thing in the world, but damn, they're hot, and the little sleeve makes them so hot.
Mm-hmm.
I
It's
mean,
not new, but I'll say it, they're really hot.
I don't even care. That is such a classic, in fact, that I feel like it can't even be overdone because it's so perfect. That Jim Gaffigan's take on that is like one of the funniest things I've ever. It's the most like universally true experience that when you first time you hear that thing about Hot Pockets, you're like, I can't believe everyone's been having this experience all along, not just me.
I have a really vivid memory of my 4th birthday was we had like a petting zoo put in our backyard. It was like farm themed, and I guess maybe it was only like we're only providing dessert type of party and snacks or something, because I remember my mom being like, you should really eat something before your party starts. Again, sort of like a picky eater, never much of a breakfast person, so that was always like in a special battle. Was like, my mom was like, please, we're far too in the day for you to have not like had anything. And I remember I was in my red striped Oshkosh Bagosh overalls, and I took a bite out of a barbecue beef Hot Pocket and just immediately dropped like the whole thing on my overalls because it was too hot, and like it squirted out. I remember my mom being like, oh, we just put you in your birthday outfit.
Oshkosh Bagosh, there's never been a more fun thing to hear as a child.
No,
Oh my
it's
God.
it's great to
Clothes?
say, and they knew it.
They
It's
knew what they
perfect.
were doing.
They knew exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Have y'all ever had GFS? Have you heard of Gordon Food Service?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, my Midwest listeners are going to be screaming. It's like Costco for the Midwest, but you don't have to be a member. So you can.
Where's Sam's Club? Does Costco become Sam's Club somewhere also?
No, they're
Yeah.
two different. They're two different
Oh.
chains. Sam's
Sam
Club
and
is
Costco are different men.
yeah. Sam
right.
is Sam Walton. It's the same as Walmart. And I don't know how everywhere it is versus Costco, but they're different. They're a Target Walmart difference, you know.
Thank you, Tim. Continue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also for another tangent for the musical theater nerds listening to this, who are everyone, there was a song in Next to Normal about Costco. Did you know this? Before the show like went to Broadway, I saw it off Broadway, and Alice Ripley had an entire song dedicated to Costco, and it obviously got cut because it didn't move the plot forward at all. But it literally just was Costco, oh, Costco, where the lonely and lost go to buy something to eat. And then she just started listing off stuff you could buy at Costco. And it was so catchy and so fun and made almost no sense.
Someone revive this song.
Yeah, get it
It's
out
a
there.
very musical improv song.
The world
Yes.
the world deserves it. Similarly to what where I think you were going, Tim. Some Costco food courts are outside, so like you don't need a membership to eat at them, and some of them are inside, at which point you can't get in without like a membership card. But hot tip, I think you can always go into a Costco without a membership card because, at least in California, you can buy alcohol at a Costco whether you are a member or not, because it's illegal to have member prices on alcohol.
Whoa.
So hot tip.
That is a hot tip.
If you need a bunch of vodka for your slumber party, go get it at
Might
Costco.
need to do that. I've never been inside a Costco ever in my life.
Oh,
because
Tim.
Oh.
do I need to go? You both
Yes.
have such a reaction to that. Okay.
First of all, you can eat an entire meal just on Costco samples, which is
Yeah, I don't know how long.
post-pandemic. I don't know how long that's for this
how long
world.
that's gonna take. That'll be the true sign that everything's back. If they can ever bring samples back, I'll be like, okay.
Because buffets are back in a way that was shocking to me. Someone was like, I was there and there was a salad bar. And I was like, are we still doing salad bars? Didn't we learn?
Honey, I gotta tell you, have either of you ever worked in a restaurant before that had a salad bar or had a buffet?
Not that had a
No.
buffet, no.
Oh, honey. I worked at the Ruby Tuesday in the mall when I was 18, and I was the salad bar boy and to-go guy. So
You were an SBB?
SBB was the SBB for people getting
And TGG?
You were an SBB and the
TGG? That's one part?
serving the, what did we say, MCOS? Mini
The MOSB?
MOSB?
Serving MOSBs. It was me and this lady named Sharon, and God bless her, she was like this older lesbian who was like very gruff and like very not trying to make a lot of friends, but I loved Sharon because she told it like it was. She told it like it was. And then so we would trade off duties. When I was doing to-go guy stuff, I would like take the to-go boxes to people who ordered it in the mall, and she would do salad bar. But I swear to God, she would like refill the salad bar, and one day I saw her digging in the trash for food, and she was like, it's for my dog. But then she wouldn't wash her hands, and then she would refill the salad bar, and I would be like, Sharon,
Sharon,
no.
Sharon,
But
no.
she was like way more senior there than I was, so she's like, this is how it works. You dig in the trash with your hands, and then you refill the salad bar.
This is how it works.
This is how it works. It was so from that moment, I can't, after working at a place like that, I can't do salad bar and buffets anymore. It just really stresses me out. And back to GFS, so it's like this like Costco type situation, but you don't have to be a member, but you can buy things in bulk. And they didn't have Hot Pockets there. They didn't have like, I don't know if Costco is like this, but they didn't have other name brand stuff. It was all like GFS products. So instead of Hot Pockets, they had, oh no.
Oh, he's
we're
back.
good.
I just didn't want to make you guys watch me blow my nose.
Oh, so courteous.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Instead of Hot Pockets, they had frozen calzones. So imagine a Hot Pocket, but twice the size. So very, very, very hot on the outside. And honey, frozen Antarctica tundra for like an entire rock on the inside. And it'd be like a frozen calzone you could just buy from the grocery store. And I was obsessed with them. I would eat them all the time. And then one day I had the flu and I stayed home from school. And my mom was like, drink lots of liquids and like careful what you eat. And
You love the calzone.
I love the calzone. So I ate the calzones while watching Halle Berry's Catwoman. And I can feel like where I was sitting, the vision I have of Halle Berry cracking the whip and like the food going in me being like, oh, I'll never be able to eat one of these ever again in my life.
That's very sad. I'm also like imagining like not being a kid and not being able to finish this calzone and your parents being like, hey, come on, clean your plate, and you having to like defend. It's the like rock hard marinara center. Like it can't be penetrated by normal teeth.
It's frozen solid. It's not
It's for
possible.
wolves.
This marinara is for wolves.
It's for wolves. Did you guys ever fake sick from school?
I when I was this is first, second, or third grade, I don't remember, but it was in Montessori school and it was orange door. So that's where I know where it is. Montessori school doesn't have grades, it has doors. So I was in orange door for what would be first, second, and third grade, which means you have the same teachers 3 years in a row, which is cool. But I had like gotten a skeleton key. I don't remember where. Someone had given it to me. So it was like this metal key that like looks like it opens nowhere, because it's just like decorative or whatever. But it did fit into electrical sockets. And I was showing it to someone. I was like, "Oh, this thing. Oh, maybe it fits in here." And the way that like kids are like, "Look, there's a thing, and it goes in a thing." And I shocked myself, and I was like, "Fine," but it did freak me out. So that was when I was like, "I'm sick. I have to go home." And I think I just told my mom that I felt sick, but really I had electrocuted myself by putting a key into a socket.
Oh my gosh.
The
I
only
think-
time you faked sick is when you literally electrocuted.
But I
Almost
wasn't sick.
That's
I
a
was
good
fine,
kid.
but I
That's
did
a good
fake.
kid.
I have a very vivid memory of in first grade. My stomach hurt really bad. Also in school, I don't think I faked to stay home. I think maybe I can think of one time where I was like also legitimately like really tired. Like maybe I had stayed up too late doing something I wasn't supposed to. So I felt kind of off when I got woken up in the morning to go to school, and I just kind of played it out like, yeah, I might be sick. But one time I was at school and my stomach hurt and I didn't understand what was happening really. And I remember being upset because we were just about to, for the first time ever, open our Penguin book that was about math, that I was like, couldn't wait to finally crack open this Penguin book. Like, so it must have been like the third or fourth week of school. And I'm the third kid, and everyone in the elementary school like knew our family.
Sorry, Penguin the publisher, or was
No,
it like a
it just had
penguin
penguins
themed
on it.
math? Okay, I understand.
The cover was just a picture of penguins, and I was like,
got it.
I'm going to learn math. I'm
I
growing
gotta
up.
have these penguins teach me math. I understand.
Yeah. And I was very excited because the first few weeks of first grade, we had not touched it yet. You know, we were just going over the basics of how to sit in our seats and stuff.
Okay, what am I going to get in these penguins?
Oh my God, I get in these penguins. Like, I probably was being like, Mrs. Rowe, when do we look at these penguins? And she's like, not yet. We're starting with phonics. But everyone in the school knew my family. I was like friendly with the front office lady. So I was like, Mrs. Rowe, can I go to the nurse? And she said yes. And I walked up and was just like, Mrs. King, something is not feeling good. And I called my mom, and my mom was like, well, school ends in like 30 minutes. Are you sure you don't want to just like wait it out? I'm going to be there to like get you and your sister. And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, okay, why don't you go back to class? It's only a few more minutes. I was like, okay. This happened like 2 more times where I'd go back to class and be like, huh, and then go back and go back and go back. It wasn't like a very long walk, but finally, this is one of these stories, but someone was like, have you tried going to the bathroom? And I was like, and had just horribly violent diarrhea because I had that morning, because I was obsessed with them because they were so sweet, had a giant bowl of bran cereal on like a tiny person's stomach, and I just wasn't.
You're just cleaning the system.
I don't think it had ever happened to me. Like, I did not connect that could be painful.
Kid
that,
bodies
like, holding in violent diarrhea actually causes cramping in your stomach. Was like, it's so weird to have a memory of not knowing that can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
That I was
really
like,
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I was like, I'm suffering from some mysterious stuff.
No one's ever had this before.
Yes, so you must pick me up. Come 10 minutes earlier to get me at that point.
That's
it was just
my
like,
favorite detail of that story is that this happens like 30 minutes.
So towards the end of the day, and she was just like, I mean, I'm basically almost there anyway. Can you just wait?
What if your mom had just been like, just take a dump? Like,
I mean,
didn't know. I'm sure she would have if she had known that's what.
Although it might have come from her eventually. She might have been like, well, what have you? Because I think we called her back like 2 more times in this 15-minute saga of going back and forth a few times. I can't remember if it was Mrs. King or my mom that said, have you tried going to the bathroom?
I hope it came from one of your classmates.
That
they were just like, some kid in the back of the room was
took off his sunglasses.
His sunglasses.
This happened to me a few years back.
I know
this happened to me.
Pal.
I know what's happening. I had a bran muffin once at brunch for Nana's birthday, and
we had different versions of that kid. Your version was jaded with a cigarette. My version was the cool kid who knows all about like dumps.
The cool kid. Yeah, that's what constitutes a cool kid in middle school. That's a kid that knows about dumps. He knows
Brian, the dump king.
His name would be Brian too.
There were always a lot of Brians.
A lot of Brians in our generation.
I had a friend who was always learning, not always learning French, but he was taking French as a different language. And all of the French textbooks France had a unified like textbook that they would give. So the name Brian is always in there. And one of the things that you would learn English with was like, where is Brian? Brian is in the library. So
I really loved we had videos that went along with our Spanish. Our Spanish textbook at my high school was Ven Conmigo. And it had corresponding videos that were made to go with the textbook where they spoke slower, I think was like the main product of it. Because we would also watch like El Rey Leon to like try to see if you could work on following a story that you already knew to work on your comprehension skills. But then these videos were
is
like
that about the King Lion?
That's right.
The King Lion.
You got it.
Nice.
You know the adjectives go after in Latin-based languages, right? Oh,
Wow.
how embarrassing! How embarrassing!
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
But there was an episode. There was a unit about getting ready for school, and so it was like always the same kid, Paco, and he was like, "¿Qué necesito? Una mochila, un lápices, un cuaderno." And that always stuck with me, that I just like loved that really long list that was very slow. Una mochila, a backpack, un lápices, pencils, un cuaderno, a notebook. And then the other unit that I loved was when you learned about like adjectives to describe people, and Paco gets a crush on a girl, and he's like, like, you know, I can't remember, but it ends with like, he's like, she plays volleyball. I remember it was a detail that he liked about her. And then
What's not to like? She plays volleyball.
Exactly. It ends with him going, "Oh, una chica fantástica."
I love that so much.
She's a fantastic girl.
Fantastic
Chica
girl.
Fantastica.
She's a great
Una
spiker, great blocker. That's one.
It was
Una
so
chica
funny.
Fantastica.
And people were always talking to Paco, "Ven conmigo, Paco, ven conmigo."
Paco seems like he has a great life. Sorry.
Yeah.
He
Tim.
does. We had like a pretty rough Spanish teacher my freshman year of high school. And then sophomore through senior, we had like an amazing Spanish teacher. Like I really actually learned. But
That's
freshman year, it was so great. But freshman year, we watched like The Wedding Planner in English. Like, because it had Jennifer Lopez in it.
No.
We
No.
watched, I swear to God, we watched West Side Story in English, and then there's maybe like in West Side Story, Anita and a couple of the other characters like maybe say, I want to say like 6 Spanish words throughout the
Sure.
entire movie.
I feel like
But,
when they're yelling at Maria the first time you see her, I feel like there's a couple Spanish words in there.
Yes, but that, I mean, it's still 2.5 hours of mostly English.
Yes.
It was just like, what is happening here? But then sophomore through senior year, so that was our experience of like, okay, we know literally no Spanish. And then sophomore year, you walk in the first day and she just starts speaking at you in Spanish only. There was no English spoken in the class. And she was just kind of like, you know, she would like kind of mime stuff for us to like figure out what was going on. And we eventually learned that like, okay, we're either going to have to learn this or we're not going to know what's going on in this class.
Wow,
It was kind of fierce.
that's how my fourth year was. And that was similarly, we had like fine Spanish teachers, and then everyone knew we had like this one who was incredible and everyone loved. And she was just such an awesome lady, but they only did the full speaking Spanish teaching for fourth year. That's crazy to start. So, I mean, that probably, really is really helpful.
Yeah, I got pretty good at it. And I remember her doing like flashcards of, you know, holding up the flashcards of the English word and you'd have to yell it out in Spanish. And when I was still pretty rusty, I would just yell La Mujeca for everything, which is like doll. And I would just yell that every time, and she would get so pissed at me and be like, you can't just yell that for every single one. And I'd be like, well, eventually I'm going to be right. And then when it finally was, the whole class applauded. It was like such a
That's
happy memory for me. I was like, I got it.
My teacher was so good, and I was fine at Spanish, but mostly just by like brute force of will. Like I did not have like a natural aptitude, and it didn't ever like click in really well. I'd have to work really hard to like do well. And I remember I knew what college I was going to, and they didn't take any AP credits for language. They only took it as placement. And I was going to not take Spanish. I was like, well, I'll probably take like something different. And so I remember staying after class when it was like the deadline to sign up for the actual AP test. And I was like, Senora Bobbitt, in inglés, por favor. And she was like, sí, which she would let you speak to her in English. It was like after class and you had like an issue typically. And I was like, so the school I'm going to doesn't take AP credit. So I think I'm not going to take the AP test. And I just remember her looking at me and being like, that's okay. Like she definitely did not want her average brought down. And I was like, respect. Yes. You see that I'm like a good student, but I'm not doing great at this. Like I'm definitely going to get a 3 at best. And honey, she was getting 5s out of kids. Like she had a great track record and I was going to bring her down and it was going to be stressful for me for no reason. And just like shake hands and say all good, you know?
And be on your way.
Oh boy.
Who were your first crushes?
Aladdin.
Oh yeah, that's such a good one. Is Aladdin right behind you?
Oh
my gosh, the lamp.
Wait, I'm going
Bring
the wrong
me
way.
the lamp.
There we go.
Oh
yeah, I had sheets. I had Aladdin sheets. I was very obsessed with Aladdin. And I had Aladdin sheets, and one side of the pillowcase was Aladdin, and the other side was the genie. And one night, as like a 6-year-old, I like slowly inched my face, like trying to trick myself that it was just an adjustment to kiss my Aladdin pillowcase. Felt deep, deep Catholic guilt, switched it over to the genie, and never slept on the Aladdin side again.
Oh my God, that deep Catholic guilt is real. Did you go to Catholic school?
Real. No, but I went through CCD and was confirmed. I did like 10 years of.
CCD.
Are you a CCD kid or a Catholic school kid?
I was Catholic school, but so many of my friends on the bus went to CCD. And I remember there was like always that debate of, for those listening, CCD was like after school Catholic religious class, like religion class. So you'd go to your normal public school and then you'd a couple times a week have to go to.
Just once a week, but like for first.
Like, it was like Sunday school for Jews.
Yeah, like Sunday school, but it was like a little bit more because there are sacraments in Catholicism. It was like a little bit more stringent because I went to like Sunday school early and like but which was mostly like daycare and learning like Jesus
Sunday
loves
school
me.
Is not just for Jews. I'm sorry, but they just call it. What did they call it?
Oh, Hebrew school.
Hebrew school.
Yeah,
it's a lot for 1 year, and then
it's a lot similar. It's especially the later years. It is like similar to where you're working towards like a thing that's not as big as a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, but sort of similar. But I had Catholic school friends who hated CCD kids because we sat in their desks and messed around with their desks.
I forgot about that. We would always, you'd come into school the next day and blame everything on the CCD.
The CCD kids.
Raise our hands and be like, a CCD kid wrote a bad word on my desk and it wasn't me.
Yeah, we would. Okay, Catholic school nerds. We're only doing this once a week.
Oh my gosh. And there was like always the debate on the school bus of like which was worse. And the CCD kids would be like, you have to wear uniforms to school. Your life is worse. Public school rocks. And we'd be like, we only have to go to school Monday through Friday, regular hours. You got to go extra. Catholic school rocks. And then that was always the vibe.
It was crazy because you didn't get, it's like, we had to take tests and quizzes in CCD, but it was like, for who? Versus if it was like a grade that affected my grade point average for, you know, applying for school or something, I think that's pretty intense. CCD is obviously your family cares less than to send you to Catholic school. They're like, yay, we're Catholic. Do the things.
Yeah, make it happen.
Go get your communion so grandma's happy. It's
right.
Fine.
I think you had to do it did you have to do it to get confirmed for 8th grade confirmation?
So many kids quit after 2nd grade. Wait, what'd you say? 8th grade confirmation?
Yeah, definitely for 2nd grade.
We got confirmed in 10th.
Whoa.
So I had to do CCD till 10th grade.
That blows. That really blows.
Yeah. Once a week, like all like figuring out like after school abilities. Although I think that they switched it in high school. It was only like once or twice a month, and it might have been like later because people were like, hey, we have like sports and plays and band and stuff now. You can't like take a whole weekday.
Yeah. Oh, I have so many memories flowing back to me about that I completely forgot about, Jess.
Yeah,
Zach, who was your first crush?
I don't know if I would describe this as a full-on crush, but Maid Marian in Disney's Robin Hood the Fox. I remember thinking like, oh, this fox is hot, right? This fox, like...
They're both very attractive.
They're both babes, and I was like, "Oh, they're telling me that this fox is hot," and I get that for sure. Big eyes, eyelashes for days. Everyone knew that those foxes were babes.
Yeah.
But then
and
like
when the
I
snake
had
does and he kisses and takes the rings, the
It's
bad guy
and,
kisses.
and the
That was hot.
I do
That was
that
hot.
to my wife on her wedding ring. I steal the diamond by kissing it and going, and then I have it. And the snake
Oh my
doesn't know. And then the
God.
snake gets shoved in a big barrel of ale and plugged up. Back when Disney characters could get drunk. um, but I had crushes on like, I don't know, pretty early. There were like girls in my class that I think just because I was mostly friends with girls up until sixth grade, that I was like, this is a crush. I don't think it actually was. I think it was just me being friends with girls. But the first one was probably this girl named Dana Fox, who
Whoa, fox to fox.
Fox
Yeah,
to Fox to Fox to Fox.
theme.
She lived near me. She was, I think, the first sleepover I also went on too, because we were just like friends who lived in the same neighborhood, and I would go to her house, and or she would come to mine. But when I went to hers, she was like, her mom was very artsy, and they had this whole like arts and crafts room that had like pipe cleaners and googly eyes and just all the stuff that you would want from like an arts and crafts. And we would just make stuff. And then it would get to be like time to go to sleep, and I would cry, and my parents would come and pick me up because I was like scared to stay over at someone else's house. And then I eventually got over that, but that was my thing. I like cried to come back from sleepovers for, I don't know how long it was. My child brain thinks it was a long time. It may not actually have been that long, but this certainly happened, you know, probably not 10, but more than 5 times.
That's a very common theme on this podcast that I never like think about as an adult, but I always had like a deep fear of going to sleepaway camp. Like that was like, okay, that's too long to be away from home. But I think a lot of kids feel that, Zach, of like, yeah, your first time, even just one night away at somebody else's house, everything's different.
Yeah.
Like, what if something goes wrong? Like, what?
I don't know what the fear, and now as an adult thinking back on it, I can't put a finger on what it was I was scared of. I think it was just like all of it was overwhelming. The idea, I don't know if I just like missed my family too much, which is also very possible. Yeah.
I think sleep is like a very safety comfort thing for even now as adults. So like
Mhm.
having that disturbed or interrupted in any way as a kid, I mean, it's a very vulnerable thing to be sleeping. Anything could happen when you're asleep. So it's like to go do that somewhere else, I think, and disrupt your routine in that way, I think is like very stressful for a lot of kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have like 2 different, like I don't know when sleepovers became something else, but in my brain, there is like those as like a really little kid. And then at some point it switches to being just video games until 4 a.m. with like
Oh yeah.
a bunch of dudes.
What
And
video games?
well, the big one was, I think the one that I'm really, there was for the N64, it would have been Mario Kart and GoldenEye, which I was very bad at. So I didn't like it when GoldenEye became the thing, because I was just, I didn't have really any interest in that. So Mario Kart, and then the first Smash Brothers. And then a little bit older, which I don't even know you would call these sleepovers, but they were like LAN parties with the first Xbox when the first Halo came out. And you would need a room with like 4 televisions, and you would bring 4 of this like not small video game system, and then like physically plug in, cables to each other. And Halo I was very good at.
I tried to hang with GoldenEye with the boys like at those slumber parties, and I just remember it being so difficult, but such a fun game, but very hard.
Yeah.
And then by the time Halo came around, I would always go to those sleepovers with the guys, like on swim team or on the tennis team or whatever, or in the musical. Like those were my straight guy friends, and they would be so deep into Xbox, and I would be eating hot pockets or like warming up the hot pockets for everybody.
That was me. I would destroy people in Halo, because I was one of the people bringing one of the Xboxes, and I was just I must have logged an insane amount of hours on that game. But that's what made Smash Brothers so good, which is like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart are more casual. Like the games are over fast. You don't have to be super good to sort of compete, but if you are super good, there's like a different level of it, but yeah.
GoldenEye is the end of me being interested in video games that weren't like Wii Tennis, Rock Band, and racing. Like, I don't play any other type of video game that isn't something I can race, something that emulates a real life, like where you're physically playing in the same way that you would physically play the thing in real life. And it's because like it wasn't yet 2 different joysticks, right, on the N64 controller.
Right, it was just one, but it was that 3D like.
But it was 3D, and I would like my brother, my every gaming system we had growing up was my brother's. It wasn't like a family system. It would be like what he got for his birthday. So he did still have like a little bit of ownership of like, you can play with me right now, or like, no, my friends are coming over, get out of here. And I just remember like our family kind of getting into GoldenEye and playing, but I would just get stuck in a corner, like spinning around, and he would just come kill me. And I was like, this is so stressful. I feel so actually panicked about like, I can't even walk. I can't walk even.
The thing that would do it better, and we did this on Halo too, which is just like you set it to all rocket launchers, or in GoldenEye it would be like everyone is just throwing either shoes or the golden gun, but it did mean that it was one shot kill for everything that you would do, which made it like pandemonium.
Yes. I don't think it was one shot, but I was probably just like couldn't then run away because I'd be like, I'm in a wall.
Playing video games with people that are much better than you is actually
no
not fun.
Yeah. I have terrible memories too of like walking by the den where our family computer was and watching him play Doom on like PC and being like, I think games are terrifying now. Like this is, I hated the sound of it. Like it made me scared. I'd be like, can you close a door when you're playing Doom? Because it's like very scary
Doom
for me to walk by.
Game.
It's very scary.
Bunch of scary hell monsters.
The summer after college did a summer theater of New Canaan which is like the summer theater in Connecticut. And I stayed in the house of like the family who owned it with like other kids from college. And one of the main things we did was watch the British series Skins, which I loved. But the other thing we did is my friend Nate tried to get me into, he's like, you just need to revisit video games because now they're like amazing and there's like storytelling and world building and like there's things about them that you'd like. And I'm like, okay. And he tried to get me to play BioShock and I was like, still couldn't walk.
That is a wild game to drop someone into.
Well, because he was like, you're gonna love how beautiful and like the Art Deco aesthetic is so cool, and I'm like, yeah, it is. I am so bad at walking and looking with the 2 joysticks now because I just have never built up that skill. There was a part where I had to like walk up across a grate to just get to the other side, and underneath the grate there's a small girl slowly stabbing a body, and it's meant to be like for a regular player. It should be like a 2-second scare because you're good at walking and you like walk by and you're like, ooh, that's a creepy little girl. I was so bad at moving that moment lasted like 15 minutes for me because I kept almost falling off the grate. So for 15 minutes, I'm just hearing like...
Yeah, it's meant to be like a background image that you see as you're passing by.
Yes, as you're running. And I'm like... for so long. And I'm like, that's it. I don't... They're scary. I don't...
I just remembered this game that we would rent for sleepovers from Blockbuster.
Oh my gosh, renting games.
I know, right? But it was called Chameleon Twist. And I don't know that they've made any since, but it was just like, there was a multiplayer mode, but you're a chameleon and you run around and you put your big tongue out and get a bunch of bugs or whatever. And then you spit them at the other chameleons to like knock them off a platform.
That sounds
fun. That was it. And yeah, Chameleon Twist. Someone needs to reboot it. Chameleon Twist, baby.
Did you both start with N64? Was there a gaming system before that for either of you? Did you do regular
For me,
Nintendo?
that was my first one.
That was your first
My
one?
brother had Nintendo and he had a Sega. I have another memory of playing Sonic and not being able to speed run through the loop and him telling me that if I wasn't ready to play, then I couldn't play.
Oh my gosh.
And, like
devastating.
Also just gives me like a panic to remember not being able to die by time running out on a level. It's just
as someone that never owned a Sega, Sonic was stressful because the mechanics of Sonic are not super intuitive. It's like, wait, I stop to charge out and charge up, and that's how I get through the loop. Like it wasn't there were no other games like it. So if you didn't have it, it was like kind of hard to get used to.
And again, because it was my brother's, like he's not just like he wasn't being like, and he wasn't always a jerk about it, but he was occasionally, like, oh, I want to play my thing, stop. And when you're 6 and 12, your ability to do video games is like so vast. Like that's peak time where your age difference. I'm definitely just an annoying little sister playing, like messing up his video game time, which was like still limited. Like I think he was still not allowed to like be on it that often. So he'd be like, no, this is like my hour with it. I don't want to teach you how to play Sonic. If you can figure it out, then you can play with me. And I was just like, I'm going to die from time. And he's like, yeah, we all do.
What a lesson there. We all die from time.
We all die from time.
Even Sonic the Hedgehog dies from time.
So my video game thing became very much just, I got every version of Game Boy for like every Christmas.
So fun.
From like 7 to 15.
But you never played Pokemon. But you got all the Game Boys.
No, I basically only played Mario games.
I was the same. I also had the Game Boy, but I never played, and I was obsessed with Pokemon. I collected every single card, but I for some reason never.
Mine are sitting in a binder over there. I just got them back from my parents' garage.
My nephew took mine without asking me from my parents' house, and my sister told me about it. I wasn't using them, but I was like, I was like, of course you can have them. You're 12, like. That's the person who should be having those Pokemon cards. But I had a full couple hours where I was like, is this okay with me? Am I ready? Get these out.
Because depending on what you have, they're worth money now.
That's what I was thinking. I had Charizard. I had the whole original.
I mean, it's a legitimate collection. It's not just like, you can't play with my Legos because I don't want you to undo the pirate ship I built forever ago. It's a little different in that, like, there could be
so long. Like it was like a true hobby as the 6th grader, being like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get. I will never forget the first time I got counterfeit ones. That ever happened to you guys?
No. Where did you get counterfeit Pokemon? I mean, I have some Japanese cards. I don't remember how I must have traded them with someone, but I have, which is so fun because the Japanese cards say Pocket Monsters on them, and the American ones say Pokemon, which is very strange.
Pocket Monsters.
Yeah.
I love that.
That is really good. I never knew that's what that. Yeah.
I know Pocket Monsters. That's like such a fun. That makes them so much more fun than they were already.
Yeah.
We were on like a family road trip with another family that we would like go camping and like super fun. And we went to this place in Michigan where they had like a little convenience store, and we found out they had Pokemon cards, and we freaked out, and we would like go and try to collect. And so we were like getting really good ones. And then we compared them with our real ones, and they were like a little bit smaller and a little bit thinner. They were just smaller cards, and the color was a little distorted, and they looked exactly the same except not the right size and not the right shade of like colors. And we were like, oh my god, these are counterfeit Pokemon. It's being sold at a store. It was very tragic.
That's wild.
You guys are very smart. When I listen to the pod, I think that too. I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and look that word up. Even in your improv.
I'm mostly following Jessica around and then faking my way through the other half of it.
Absolutely not. I think everyone goes to their wells, right? Unlike if you have, then you are only improvising with stuff that you know you sound.
That's right. I'm never gonna
like,
drop
you know
myself.
What you talk about.
Yes.
Like I would never be like, yes, let me drop a bunch of physics specifics, because I would just immediately say Doppler and then be done or something.
That's why after every improv show, Michael has seen me and he's always like, so you do a lot of 90s pop culture references.
Yeah.
Hey.
we all gotta like use our own expertise for sure.
Speaking of musical improv, how did you guys become friends?
We have had one Elphaba on our podcast. You've had her too. Nicole Parker. But we've come into contact with a couple Elphabas. What was that thing that we did for that camp that you used to work at, Jess?
Camp Bravo.
Yeah, there was we met an Elphaba there. There's an Elphaba from my college, Teal Wicks.
Oh, so good.
Who I've never met but would love to meet.
Someone just sent me this week. There's there's all these streets on Fire Island. There's no cars there, but there's like little walkways. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Sorry, can you tell me? I only know of Fire Island from my gay friends on Twitter and Instagram. What is a Fire Island?
Fire Island is truly the most magical place on the earth. It's like weirdly a gorgeous beach, like unbelievably beautiful. You go a deep onto into you take a train from New York City, I think, into Long Island, like or maybe no, I don't honestly even know where it is. I've just hopped on the train with my friends and been like, we're going. You take like an hour and a half train ride, and then you get on a ferry to go out to a literal
An
island. It's
island.
totally
Okay.
secluded. There are no cars
No
at all.
laws.
No laws, truly. It's like a gay haven of like little bars and drag, and everyone is doing gay homosexuality with each other. And
Which I love as a
I
verb.
love for a place for people to do gay homosexuality with each other.
it's really great. And it's very I think it has a huge reputation for being like like drugs and sex. And that totally exists there, and that's awesome and so fun. And it's just honestly an unbelievable nude beach. It's like the most, like every time I've gone, I come back and I feel like I am rejuvenated. Like it's the beach is beautiful, the water's gorgeous. And I think in the gay community, like people can be pretty rude. It's like a good word to do with it, because a lot of gay people have a lot of trauma, and then they're, the stereotype of like a catty gay person, especially, very much exists in New York City. So you'd see these guys at like auditions or at the gym or whatever at clubs in New York, and maybe they'd give you kind of like the stink eye, and then you go out to Fire Island and you see each other walking on the pier, and you're like, hey, how are you, how's your day go? Like it completely changes everything. It's full Never Land.
Fire Island is the world we need to build for ourselves everywhere. We need to make the
Truly.
world a fire
We
island.
need to make the world Fire Island.
I mean, truly, it is so magical. But I say that because someone just sent me, there's the little boardwalk, like walking strips there have names, and one of them I think is like it's something like TW something, like Tier Walkway or something like that, and somebody scribbled it out and changed it to Teal Wicks.
All right,
That's
Teal Wicks.
Very good.
Honored to have a street on Fire Island.
I mean, absolutely.
Are you familiar with okay, sorry. So sorry. This is going to take me one moment. Talk amongst yourselves.
Great.
If it's an alpha that you're about to pull up, the answer is yes, and I
It
can't
isn't.
wait.
It isn't. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Tim, how do you feel about the Wicked movie? Is it coming out ever? Will we ever see it?
I think now that John M. Chu is attached, it's definitely going to happen, and I think it's going to be fucking amazing.
I was just talking to someone about this. Oz is now in the public domain and has been for some time.
Whoa!
Oh, like the original, like
because the books are
books
now are like over 100 years
100.
old at this point. So like there's like the Ruby Slippers are not. They're owned by MGM and whoever did whatever. So like I think part of the, like, I don't know what in Wicked is public domain and what it is not, but some of it is. Yes, Jessica, did you find your thing?
I did. And also I just want to say the woman who wrote the book for Wicked, Winnie Holtzman, is one of my best friends' aunt, basically. She's actually like a cousin, but because of their
Close like an aunt.
And my friend, I've had several friends be her assistant. And so I know that there have been many working meetings about the Wicked movie.
Okay. That's great to know.
Okay, that's very exciting. And every time I hear the words Winnie Holtzman, I think of Idina Menzel's Tony acceptance speech. So thank you to Winnie Holtzman for giving the green girl a heart.
Mm-hmm.
I start crying.
She's also married.
Line.
She's married to character actor Paul Dooley.
Oh,
Can you picture him?
I'm about to on the internet.
Anyway, they're a delightful couple. I went to a wedding shower at their house. They're very sweet.
okay, I love that.
Yeah. And their daughter's a writer too, and she's very rad. Anyway, what I was gonna say is I have one of those very basic letterboard things, that you can put pithy phrases on. Just with the little plastic letters that you can like write out like rose all day on or whatever. So I have one of those. And I like to put up funny phrases, and I'll often be like to my husband, "Did you notice?" And he's like, "No, that's your whole." That's your situation. Like for St. Patrick's Day, it said "Bye snakes," and then
I saw that.
and then I just added on underneath "Bye snakes, hi bunnies."
Oh my god.
So 2 days ago, I wrote on it.
Bye druids.
Bye,
Bye
druids.
Jesus.
Bye druids, hi Jesus. 2 days ago, I took it down and put up "June is busting out all over."
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So are you familiar with the video of
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Leslie
thank
Uggams?
you. Yes, thank you.
Wait, tell me.
Okay, because my husband was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Come on, June is busting out all over." And he's like, "What's that from?" I'm like, "Well, it's from Carousel, but don't you know the video?" And he was like, "No." Okay, so Zach,
Mm-hmm.
there's this incredible video of it's like a celebration of Rodgers and Hammerstein on like PBS. Leslie Uggams, who won the Tony for Mame.
That sounds right.
Anyway, she's like
legendary
legendary
actress.
Broadway.
Yeah.
And she's coming through the audience. Do you know June is busting out all over the song
Yeah.
in
Yes, I
general?
do.
Okay. So she's like, "June is busting out all over when and the husband and the hanging and the buzzing and the buzzers are all wiggle daggles in the day because it's June." It's so incredible.
good.
Wait,
It's
does
really
she not
good.
know the words?
No. So I then I was showing my husband this on YouTube yesterday to explain this is why I put this phrase up. And it like auto played like another, or was like suggesting other videos of her and of June busting out all over. And so I watched an interview where she was like, I sang several songs in this celebration that were in my repertoire, or ones I was known for, or ones I'd come up doing in like a cabaret scene or for auditions or whatever. This was like an add-on song. I don't know this song very well. They had asked me like 2 days before to add it, and I had said sure. And there had been so much rain. I'm walking through the audience, and I'm like already a little nervous. I'm in heels. It's muddy because it had rained so much, and I'm like trying to keep it up and cheerful, but I have to follow the cord of the camera and all the equipment as they're doing this tracking shot through the audience.
Too many
And
things.
she's like 2 seconds in, the cue card guy slips in the mud.
I never knew that.
And she's like, she's like, he does not bounce back up. And so I'm just done. And the guy is like, who's interviewing her is like dying laughing. And then she's like, I then got off stage. The producers didn't say anything. My husband didn't say anything. No one said anything. And I had other songs in this gala for Rodgers and Hammerstein, this like celebration, and they went off well. And kind of no one talked about it. And then I didn't hear about it for years. And then thank you, YouTube. And my friend was like, "Sweetheart, do you know you're in every gay bar in the world?" Like, she's like, this video, she like basically the actual event happened in like pre-internet time. She got away with it for years. And then it like came back of like with the buzzing in the it's incredible.
The Wiggums. Like the words she's coming up with are so funny.
Like you just say like, "And the sunshine and the daisies," like it's June. It's just about the weather. Like
No, the Wiggums.
It's
Oh,
so
love
cute,
it.
and she's really like her
she's
shoulders are moving.
oh my
She's,
gosh,
like,
she's
selling
such
it
a pro.
so hard.
She's like, "If I just maybe mumble," like her eyes are so lit up. She's such a pro. But it's incredible. You're just like, how she's like, it's live. It was a live telecast performance.
Yeah.
She couldn't do anything but keep going. So
I
it's
love
really
that.
admirable, but it's hilarious where her brain goes with the buzzins and the huggins.
The buzzins and the huggins and the Wiggums.
It's so
And then my
good.
friend and I in college used to love that it ends with like, "Because it's June, just because it's June, June," and then it sounds like she goes, "Joan."
Joan. Somebody, I think, put the subtitles underneath,
Yes.
like rewrote the subtitles and then wrote Joan and
Joan. That must have been the original way I saw the video.
Oh,
Just
man.
because it's June, Joan.
Joan.
Those were my favorite YouTube videos back in early days of the internet, which was like people writing what they thought Fall Out Boy song lyrics were, with good animation to them.
Yeah, those are really funny.
Thank you,
That's
Jess.
so
I'm gonna go find that video immediately.
That is so good. I will add that video to this podcast. It's so phenomenal. So that's, I think, the YouTube video we would watch at a slumber party. Is
For sure.
there a movie that you guys would want to put on for?
Wait, also we would watch the video of the pig dancing to Rihanna's work.
Oh
Oh,
my
it's
God,
very
was that
good.
yours, Zach? Was that?
Yeah.
Is that what, thank you so much.
Just the pig that just shakes his butt.
So
That's such a
pure.
good pig.
So good, such a good pig.
It's such a
That's
good
it.
pig.
Sorry, next question.
No, that was amazing. Is there a movie that y'all would want to put on?
I mean, I think it's exciting to sometimes watch a scary movie, but I don't
No,
really
thank you.
like them.
Too scary.
But I do sort of like terrible ones. Like, I was thinking about this question. I'm like, well, I'd either go with like a true classic, like Clueless, or I'd go with like Final Destination 2. You know, like
Ooh, yeah.
where it's like fun and it's got like gory scares, but it's like so silly. You can be cracking jokes with your friends throughout. You're not like actually gonna have nightmares. It's so those movies get so absurd. But those would be sort of my areas of pitch.
Sort of in that vein, we would watch like Mystery Science Theater stuff that would be just such terrible movies. But your friends on TV cracking jokes, if your friends in real life weren't funny enough to crack the jokes. What do we want? We just watched like Austin Powers over and over and over again.
Oh,
But is this like what would we bring to a sleepover with us? Is that the question?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, if it were the three of us hanging out at a slumber party.
Have you ever seen The Court Jester, Tim?
No. I don't even know what that is.
This was a movie that Jess and I bonded over because almost no one has seen it. Do you know who Danny Kaye is?
Yeah.
He's in White Christmas with Bing Crosby.
Oh,
yeah, he's like rumored and almost basically confirmed to be Laurence Olivier's lover. But
I didn't know that.
So Danny Kaye, like
Tim, full leave the mic.
Cassandra.
An incredible performer, like an incredible patter singer, amazing dancer, face like rubber, incredible side character and leading man, just so talented, is in this musical written by his other partner, may have been technically his wife, I don't remember, but she and he wrote a lot of the songs in this thing together. And it's basically this Robin Hood story where the Robin Hood character's name is the Black Fox. He's showing up because someone has usurped the throne from the rightful whatever. So he and his band of people in the woods are here to like make things right, and he's going to sneak into the castle and pretend to be someone else and like seize the throne for the child. But someone else has also hired an assassin there, who is someone else. Oh, man, this movie is hard to describe. So
I mean, it's but it ends up being like slapstick comedy on top of it, and it's very funny.
And he's just an entertainer for the actual Robin Hood, and then actual Robin Hood can't go. So he has to go in like actual Robin Hood's place and ends up being the court jester for this thing, but also being the fake Robin Hood, but also being this assassin for the bad guys who have hired him to do a thing as a case of mistaken identity. And it's
but what
musical.
You really need to know is that there's an iconic scene where they're trying to poison the usurper, the like team of good guys who are fighting, and they can't remember what they put the pellet of the poison in, and it's the pellet with the poisons in the flagon with the dragon. No,
the vessel with the pestle has the brew
that is true. No, it's
bad news. They broke the vessel with the pestle and replaced it with a flagon with a picture of a dragon.
And there's this like incredible run of like vocal dexterity. It's an incredible scene. The pellet with the poison, the flagon with the dragon, the vessel with the pestle is the brew that is true. And
with
then
the
there's
Wiggins and the Biggins and the Figgins.
Yes.
And the Huggins and the Flint.
And the Wiggins and the Buggins. Yeah, because it's Joan.
Because it's Joan.
Okay, that sounds incredible, and now I cannot wait to watch. Honestly, I
want to watch that with you, Tim. Let's watch that together. Say,
can we please get pizza rolls and watch that movie? I would really love that.
Yes,
I would die.
That's really good.
We have to wrap up. This has gone way longer than usual, but I could talk to you guys for forever. Before we wrap up, though, I have to tell you, I did my stand-up show. One of the I think I'd done it in Edinburgh like 7 times in a row. Like I did like a week in Edinburgh, and then my first time like leaving Edinburgh and doing it anywhere else was in London. And when I was in London, I was like, is anybody going to come to this? Like, does anybody know who I am? Like, this is so stressful. And there's a segment in my show called Hot People, How Dare You, where I go up to hot people in the audience and I scream, how dare you, in their face.
Is your stand-up on YouTube anywhere?
Is on my Patreon.
I know there's clips of it. Everyone, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen this show is so good.
Thanks,
Please
Zach.
go on the Patreon. It is worth the price of admission just to watch this stand-up show. It is it's truly so fun.
That's so nice of you. And it meant so much to me that you came in LA. That you
Oh,
came in
gosh.
LA 3 days before the like everybody stay at home and don't leave.
Yeah,
your
I got
houses.
COVID at Tim's show. You should go.
It is a miracle that I don't think anybody did, but I mean, we were 80 people packed into a very small room. That was lucky. But
Anyway, sorry, derailed. But
thank you so much. That was very, very nice of you. And we haven't even told the audience how I know you. You co-wrote Voldemort the Musical with our friends Richie Root and Fiona Landers, and then you directed me in it. And I just had the fucking best time with you. And you were so kind.
You were a killer.
You're the best. You're just the best.
It's easy to direct people that make consistently very funny choices.
You made me feel so funny. I felt so. I had just moved to LA. I didn't know anybody, and I was, it's very scary to join like a room full of talented comedy people and be like, all right, like we were saying earlier, like comedy is subjective. Just be like, I hope people laugh. And you were such like a giving and wonderful laugher, and you gave such clear notes, and I just like will always appreciate that experience so much. So we did that in Edinburgh the first year together, and then I went back with the show, and then I did my hour of stand-up. I'm doing Hot People, How Dare You in London, and when I tell you the hottest person I've ever seen in my life is sitting there, and I go up to him and I said, what's your name? And he was like, Philippe. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, how
Okay.
okay. How did you hear about the show? How do you know who I am? And he was like, I follow you on Instagram. And I was like, okay. You guys thought I was horny before. That's like the sexiest thing you could say to me. And I was like, how did you find my Instagram? And he said, I listen to Off Book podcast, and I'm a super fan of Off Book. And Zach had shared a picture of you from the Voldemort musical, and I was like, oh my god. So I just want to thank you both for bringing one of the hottest audience members I've ever had in my life to my show because of Off Book. And also, if you haven't listened to Off Book, you must. Oh my god.
Thank you, Philippe.
Thank you, Philippe.
Oh my gosh.
Philippe,
I'm thrilled to know we have such a hot fan.
Yeah. Philippe, let us know where you're at.
He's in Oslo. He lives in Oslo.
Oh my gosh, that's
that was the other
hot.
part of the twist that I was like, what is going on? I was like, you live in Norway? What are you doing at this show? And he was like, I was here for the weekend. I saw you post about it.
I was here being hot.
I'm here just being really hot.
Hot
and also
people,
very
how
sweet.
How dare you?
How dare you? That's all the time that we have. Philippe, thank you so much for listening to this show and for letting me call you out for being so very hot and so very kind.
Also, how dare you?
But also, how dare you? And also, please listen to Off Book Podcast. It is so funny. It's so joyous. Where can the people follow you on the internet? Jess.
Yeah, listen to Off Book wherever podcasts are. And then you can follow me at Jess McKenna on Instagram. And I'd say don't bother on Twitter. It's full of tumbleweeds.
I'm at Zach Reino, ZACHREINO. Off Book is at Off Book Pod on, I think, both of those things. And we're cutting down on our social media these days, so that's the place to get all the info about what we got going on. We're hoping to be back touring when that's possible. We haven't made any plans for that yet, but it will be soon.
Yeah, but we have those hopes and those dreams.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go see your live show. That's going to be so much fun. And truly, y'all, I mean, deep dive into these episodes. They've had Nicole Parker many times. They've had Arden Marine. They've had Rachel Bloom. It's just so much fun and so funny.
the last year has been a little bit of an adjustment, obviously, because doing musical improv over Zoom is like so tricky, but a lot of our backlog is still out there. So go.
And you guys have been
Go find one you like.
wildly impressive of this last year. I started listening early on being like, how are they doing this? It feels like you're in the same room and it's all so runs so smoothly.
Thank you. A lot of trial and error. Shout out to our engineer and friend and now guitarist Brett Morris, who like kept scouring the internet for solves. We went through like several versions, but the one we're landed on now has been really great for the past like 5 or 6 months. And now I think we're gearing up to be back in the same room. So
yeah, Saturday, the first time in a while.
Yeah.
So excited.
That's a Slumber Party exclusive, Tim. We haven't said that to anyone yet.
Oh my
Exclusive.
gosh. Exclusive. Thank you guys so much. You're the absolute best. This was so fun. And listeners, thank you so much. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.